Welcome to our next episode of
Fandom
Family
Chats.
This is a production of Family Fan Clubs on Facebook. You can find us all over Facebook. You can find us all over social media under Fandom Family Chats. Look us up, get dialed in, get plugged in, and get ready to listen to some crazy people talk crazy stuff.
Welcome back to Fandom Family Chats. I'm Amanda.
And I'm Jeanette.
And today, I'm so excited. We're talking about season 3 of Bridgerton, part 1.
Part 1. Unfortunately, part 1.
Part
we couldn't
1.
have the whole thing. It's fine.
But I will offer to drive some people out to Hollywood to have a discussion about why is there only 8 episodes, first of all.
I was trying to remember, were there only 8 episodes in the other seasons or were there more? I don't know. Like, I know in other shows there's like 10, but I'm like, maybe Bridgerton really is only 8.
So no, all seasons have 8 episodes, which I did not remember that either. I thought there was 10.
I know.
So when I got on there was 4. I was like, why are there 4? Why are they gonna put out 6 at one time and 4? I was still determined. I was like, no, they're gonna give me 10 episodes whether you like it or not. And
so I think other shows have 10. I could be just making this up, honestly, but I really think that like Ginny and Georgia and stuff like that have 10.
Yeah, no, I agree. I just don't know why. I don't know why Bridgerton makes them only 8, because they could make this like a 20 episode season and we would drink in every single episode.
Every episode. Like, I don't know. I'm so excited. I don't know. This was so good though, but like, yes. And I mean, I get it. I guess Netflix is doing this thing because we're all just, people are probably just grabbing the season just to watch it real quick.
I honestly think it's to lengthen the hype around it. Because if they drop all 8 episodes at one time,
we watch them in one day.
We will all watch them in one day.
Yeah.
And then you're left hanging for another year and a half, 2 years, however long they want to torture us for until the next season. So I guess this way they at least get to kind of lengthen the hype around it, because the more they talk about it, the more popular it gets, the more successful the show is. So I think that's why they do it, but I'm not saying that I like it.
I don't like it.
I don't like it. I do have my list of complaints written out per usual, but I do have a hard time even saying that they're complaints. I think all my complaints are comparisons from book to show.
Maybe, yeah. I have one complaint and we'll talk about it, but like it's probably a little bit more of like, because it's not how it happened in the book either, but and I try not to be that person, because I mean obviously sometimes things are different.
Yeah, I know there's going to be changes, but the changes that I'm frustrated about are, I feel like, important parts of.
Oh good, because it has been so long since I've read, like you'll have to jog my memory, because I read these all. Yeah, I mean, right after season 1 came out is when I bought these books, and like I flew through them. At least I flew through all the way to Collins, and I skipped Eloise, and then I came back and I read the last 3. I've never read Eloise's, but it's been so long. And Collins, of the ones I've read, was my least favorite. So like I didn't like register.
I loved it. So I had only read 1, 2, 3. So I've already read Benedict's, and then I was in the middle of Collins, and I kind of put it down and I just didn't pick it back up.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I was enjoying it. I didn't have any complaints about the book. I just, sometimes you just put a book down on friendship. Yeah. So I did that. But at the last minute, I saw it was on my Hoopla. So I was like, I can listen to it for probably pretty quickly. It was a no-brainer. I have the book over here on my bookshelf, but I listened on audio. And I think I caught a lot of more stuff. Like in the book, there's dance after dance. Well, we all have the balls. Yes. There's like this pivotal moment that all these dances, and she like mentions like Colin always dances with me. Like it was a huge thing in the book of how often they dance with each other. And then I felt like this season we got to see him dance once, twice.
Yeah, I don't. Did we? I mean, like maybe once.
Like when he cut in.
We've seen them dance more often in previous seasons.
So that's actually one of my bigger complaints, which I guess is okay.
Yeah. Well, plus, that's what I guess we do have to remember. There is 4 more episodes, and hopefully they will make up for this.
Well, see, my whole thing is their dancing was their lead up.
Well, and that's not even just them. I feel like in the other seasons and in Queen Charlotte, like the dance scenes are some of the most important moments of like their. I mean, that's how like yes, we get spicy scenes, but like a lot of Bridgerton is. I mean, you feel like the spice within like a dance. I think those are my favorite things because you just can feel that tension, and we haven't seen that yet with it. I think we saw it last season with them, but like this season, we haven't had a moment where there's like, I don't know. I can picture dances in all the other seasons with our main couples that stand out to me that I can like replay in my head without even thinking about it. So hopefully in these last 4 episodes, we'll get that with them too.
See, when I think back on dances so far this season. To me, like the 2 that pop up first is Anthony and Kate's dance because it was beautifully, of course they're both beautiful, but it was beautifully done. And also I loved the ballet scene.
Yeah.
That I love that we haven't had like a ballet type of thing in Bridgerton, but I thought it was really cool. Like seeing one, he should have put a shirt on. That was funny.
Yes.
Because in my mind, I was like, "Oh my gosh, this man is shirtless!"
Yeah,
like,
I mean, that's kind of risque for the time period. Yeah, definitely.
I was like, "Wow!" And then they mentioned it in there. And I was like, "That's funny." I'm glad that they said something because in my brain, I was like,
I know that's a lot, right?
Ooh. Same thing about seeing our Colin this season. He had his famous Bridgerton glow up.
He did. And he looked good because like, I mean, no offense to Luke Newton. He's just not been on my radar. And I mean, he's still not my favorite. He's not. Okay. He's no Anthony. He's no Benedict. Like he's just not. But there was definitely a significant change. And not just him, like in Nicola too, like in her glow up as Penelope, like she's always been beautiful. But like something about this season is just like, wow. Like I love how they've done that.
It's the green.
It's gotta be.
It's literally from the books. That is true because she goes from the citrus looking
the yellows and
she calls them in the book the citrus. She looks like a citrus fruit or something that she calls herself in Whistledown. But then she goes to this green, and with her hair color and eyes, the green was just any shade of green. She was doing light green, emerald green. And I was like, wow.
Well, that like that first dress that she wore when she came down those stairs. I mean, I was like, oh my God, she looks so beautiful. And that was one of my favorite. I love Mr. Finch. I'm like, now this is the brother-in-law everybody needs. When he was like, it's not us. And he looks so proud of her. And I was like, that is really sweet considering how mean her sisters are to her. And that he just really looked really proud of like, but I mean, even her family was kind of looking like, oh, like, wait, does she look good? Like what's happening right now?
I liked Lady Featherington's comment.
Remind me. Just because it's been a while.
Oh gosh, I just watched it last night.
I know. I'm like, how did that's my problem though. I watch them so fast and I forget stuff.
She says something to the terms of like, if she wants to wear that color.
Oh, I do remember. I can't remember what the exact word, but she's like, if she wants to wear such a
melancholy,
that's what it was.
That's
color.
What it was.
But then her face afterwards was like, okay. And Colin standing over there. Colin got very thirsty all of a sudden in that moment.
And that's the thing for me. In the book, he goes and dances with her.
I know.
Because she's so beautiful. And he's like, I got to have this dance with her. And that's how he feels connected with her. That's so much of their connection in the book. And it's seriously I didn't even realize telling on this podcast how big of a complaint this dancing thing was to me. But
no, I can understand that because I mean I agree. I didn't remember that being a huge part just because it's been so long, but I did notice that we didn't get those moments with them like we have other like couples.
Yeah, really that it's now that they're already engaged to be married now. So to me, they can't like get those dancing scenes back. Those early on.
Unless we have the moment because he's gonna have to find out stuff. And there's obviously gonna be conflict.
Another big complaint of mine. That's my second complaint. Yeah, that's one of my only other complaints.
That he doesn't know before he proposes.
Like that is another huge part in the book.
Yeah.
Of how they get together, how the relationship evolves, how he was even in the carriage in the first place. Like, why did we do it like this? Are they not going to let him know?
Unless they don't let it know this season and we save it. But like, they're going to have to get married. So that doesn't make sense either. I don't know. I don't know if we're just trying to save like some conflict for the, because every couple has like their conflict at the end of the season. I don't know that maybe that's going to be theirs. I don't know.
They have to do it. And also, another part of the book is Eloise doesn't know, but in the show she already knows, which I had completely forgotten about. And I was like having the hardest time when I was watching. I was like, why is Eloise and Penelope so mad at each other?
Oh yeah.
I had to go back and think and Google, and I was like, oh, maybe I should have rewatched season 2 before.
I'm hoping that maybe that'll allow, like, maybe Eloise will be her champion. Like when Colin finds out and is upset with her, and I mean, if he follows suit like the books, he's going to be a jerk. I hope they don't make him as big of a jerk as he was in the books about this whole thing. But like, hopefully, maybe Eloise, that'll be the thing. Like, she'll like kind of be on her side and kind of help like get them back together. I don't know. I hope so because
like, you can tell in the show he's like how he's down talking like what she did to you, Eloise. Like he's putting a lot of that blame around the Eloise part.
Let's talk about that for a minute. Okay, so the Eloise thing, she was helping her. Had she not thrown like the queen off of Eloise was convinced that it was her, so she was doing her a favor.
She was.
And then this season, when she writes whatever she writes about Colin, okay, was it just me or is it really not that big of a thing? Like she really
wasn't a big thing.
It wasn't.
It was blown way out of proportion.
Like she didn't really say anything bad about him other than that he's like changed a whole bunch. Is this really him? I mean, but that's what's happened. Like that's not untrue. So like, I don't know, because look, that's one of my biggest complaints is the way we had Colin act. Like I understand that like these boys are supposed to be rakes and they're supposed to be whatever, but never have we seen one of these boys having relations with two women at the same time in such a disgusting manner. I mean, well, I guess Benedict, but it was this big party, like artsy thing. Like,
it was very un-Colin like.
It was very un-Colin like. And I'm
like Benedict, I almost could like expect it. Like it wouldn't, or even Anthony, it wouldn't surprise me.
Like Benedict's personality being the artsy person, being kind of the free spirit he is. It's not, I mean, don't get me wrong. For me, I'm like, okay, like, not my thing, obviously, you know what I mean? But like, I'm not judging it, but it didn't feel like Colin. It felt really like, and it was unnecessary. Like we could have, in my opinion, and I'm not trying to be that person that thinks some things, like, I don't usually like, oh, that's so disgusting and unnecessary. But in this case, I think it was.
To me, like, okay, maybe the second time when he kind of like doesn't want to do it. I think that's maybe why they did it, is because at the beginning he's kind of like all into the two girls and then we get the change of he's like, no, I don't want to do this and I'll just watch.
Which made it so much better.
I know.
Still kind of creepy and weird there, Colin. If not more creepy and weird, in my opinion. But what do I know?
Anyways.
That's just not, I mean, I'm just like, okay, that's not any different, but whatever.
No, I agree. I
almost
made notes about that several times.
Yeah.
I was like,
it was cringy to me. And like I said, I don't shy away from those sort of scenes. Like that's not, I mean, we know we love the spicy stuff, but like that, I was like, ugh. Like it gave me an ick.
It did, because it was it was just very un-Colin like.
It didn't feel right. Because even Anthony was never like that. I mean, Anthony had Serena, was that her name, or whatever, the opera singer? I forget her name now. But like it wasn't like he was like out sleeping with like every chick he could get his hands on. Like,
yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, I mean, I guess we had the Duke was kind of following down that path in season 1 a little bit, but like,
but not even to that extent. And also, I want to say, because this kind of goes hand in hand to this, his journal. Yes. His journal in the show is all about his like experiences with these women and how the women look, and
about the travel, and like it was in the
book it mentions like when she's reading his private thoughts in his journal, it's not about women at all.
No,
it's about
his travels,
his experiences and his travels and the way the city looks and the art. And I think because then she's looking at this and she's like, oh wow, he's not so like simple-minded. Like he has these smarts and he's interested in this important things. But then when she's reading about all these women, I'm like, it did give me a huge pause. And again, I hate that I'm just comparing everything to the book.
Well, I just feel like it was unnecessary because it wasn't like we had any lead up to Colin being this sort of person in previous seasons either. So
yeah,
like if we had started out, Colin was the playboy like guy like that to start with, I don't think it would have mattered to me as much. But like that wasn't his trajectory until now. So it felt really sudden and just
it did
strange.
They obviously had a plan to do this to him, to make him like a ladies' man. From the first minute he walked in, he was surrounded by the ladies and then winking at them and
even
kissing
I remember
their
that
hands.
wink was
And I was
so like ew, like it felt so weird.
And the way that he like looks at Penelope directly across the street and then just kind of like glances away, like all of it was just very, I think it could have been done better.
I think you all could have
we're getting all of our complaining out of the way at the beginning. We did not
stuff.
hate this episode.
No, like I said, going into this, Colin has always been my least favorite Bridgerton. He is, and so it is what it is on this. Like that's probably why I was already on that way now. But Penelope is like one of my favorite females in the show. So like I guess I really just want the best for her. And sometimes I feel like Colin's not it. We're gonna get so much hate. People like because they're like huge like Colin fans, and I'm sorry for that. Like
I honestly I think once these next 4 episodes come out,
I think it'll be okay.
I do.
Because I think by the end of Colin's book, I also was on board, but like he's gonna get over himself. And I feel like I do think we're still gonna have some like moments where I'm gonna be really irritated with him. And then hopefully he makes up for that.
He did downplay like where he cut his hand. And like because in the book he was a lot more mad. And he stayed mad for a little bit longer.
Yeah.
And it was, I don't know, in the book I just felt like he was more curt, more mad, more disappointed. And like
that's what, and I mean I don't know what word I want to use. I remember in the books I'm gonna use the word abusive, like, but I don't actually mean abusive like in that I don't know what word I'm looking for, but I just remember that thinking that his language towards her, his actions towards her were far too aggressive for me, which is probably why he became really favorite, like Bridgerton.
Yeah. And I was honestly scared for this scene. As soon as she went into the study and we saw the journal, I was like, oh gosh, it's coming.
Yeah.
Because I hate that scene because it's again, like, I mean, even in the book, like, when I was reading the book, I'm like, oh my gosh, like, why did he react like this? This is not like Colin at all. Like, I was disappointed.
Yeah.
No, I did actually like in the show that they kind of minimized that. And he, got over it really quickly and reassured her and everything like that. I was like, okay, that's good. Yeah. I like that better.
That was good.
I didn't want that.
By the next ball, he's like said, when she asked about his hand, he said, much better. Thanks to you. So I was happy that he was like kind about that.
Yeah, that was a good book change.
And well, another good book change. Let's do this because I like that the whole like because him like helping her find a husband isn't a thing. And I actually like that trope that was happening. I kind of wish that had went on a little longer. I wish we had stretched that out because I wanted to watch him be jealous. Like I wish we hadn't moved the whole Lord Debling thing along so quickly because I wanted to watch Colin watch her with other guys and get jealous a little bit longer. I really enjoyed that change. That was the storyline we were giving.
We didn't really get like a jealous Colin until that last scene when he broke up the dance between Penelope and Lord Debling. Like that was the first time we actually got to see
like I wanted more. Jealousy. I wanted not to keep comparing, but like Anthony was when he falls in the water, like in the watching Kate with, I can't even remember the other guy's name, but like I wanted more of that to where, and everybody else is around them is noticing like we had obviously Violet when he talked to her about being friends and all this thing. I think she was obviously getting the idea that.
And Cressida could see it.
Yes.
She could see it. Even though I think she could see it before the
Eloise had a moment because Eloise was like, what? Like, it's going on
Eloise this season. Holy moly.
There was another moment at the table real quick. Then we're definitely going to talk about Eloise because I have so much to say about her. But like after he has his dream which I loved. Okay. And I love that
I
it's
totally
his.
thought that was her dream.
Yeah, I knew it. As soon as I was like, this is gonna be his dream, and I'm so happy for it.
I was
But like
happy.
when he's downstairs and he's talking about like, and Hyacinth comes up and says, like, I think it's really great what you did for Penelope. And he starts kind of tripping over his words and getting really strange. Benedict, because Benedict is always very perceptive of what's going on. His face was kind of sitting there like,
something's
what are you
off.
doing right now? Yeah. Which I remember because I feel like he did that with Daphne in season 1. He did that with Anthony. He's always the one to notice, like, what we got going on here? Like, are you into her? Like,
yeah.
So that scene was kind of fun too, I think.
I did too. No, I like that scene. A lot of people actually on TikTok did not like that scene. They did not like the.
Really?
There was a few scenes that that was in a few that I've seen that people are like they didn't really like it, even though I didn't see anything wrong with it.
That was one of my favorites because I liked how he was tripping over himself and like.
But they're saying that it was so obvious, and that like nobody was catching on.
Well, but I think that makes sense because I think they weren't focused on him. They were focused on Francesca and like all of her stuff. Like nobody's worried.
I thought it was funny because I thought it was like a kind of a funny, like inside his own brain.
I think they did catch on. Like what I'm saying, I saw like Benedict's face and even Hyacinth's face. I feel like they did. Nobody just called him out because I feel like that's how siblings are. Sometimes you just let it roll. You're like, okay, you're being weird, but that's fine. We're just gonna let you be weird for a minute. Like, like I feel like that's normal. I don't know.
Speaking of weird, actually, let's talk about Francesca for a second.
Okay.
I have not read Francesca's book. You have, so you can probably talk a little bit more. Yeah. Is she this awkward in the book?
She's not quite. I don't remember her being, but we didn't get to see her be like out in the marriage mart. When we like, she's absent through all of that, and like she is just already married. Like she's already married to John by the time that Colin's and Eloise's books are happening. Because Eloise, Colin, and Francesca's books all take place basically at the same time.
But none of the other books, they don't talk about Francesca and John?
No, because we don't even know that John exists until her book.
See, I was thinking it was a different book because they didn't say anything around in like Colin's book.
It's because she's already married in Colin's book. She's already married and living in Scotland with John. And actually, John has already passed away at this point.
No, yeah, I was going to say he's already
passed away.
She's single right now. John's already passed in the book.
So they just totally skip over that, but they do make mention that she is sort of different than her other siblings, in that she's more reserved and she's quieter and she enjoys kind of being on her own. I mean, her life in Scotland is definitely not the same as like the big wild Bridgerton house. It's very quiet and very like plain. Now I did think it was a little, I guess I didn't expect, but we don't even in her book, you don't get to know John very well because he dies, I think, within the first chapter. Like it's very fast. So
that's sad because I think they were a love match.
They definitely are. And that it is sad. And I kind of, her story is different than everybody else's in that way because, you know, I mean, she has to go through this whole like second, like.
But is Michael also a love match?
Yes.
Okay.
And the way the story goes is Michael, I think they meet, I actually couldn't remember. I thought they met around the same time she met John, but apparently that's wrong because they must meet like at her wedding to John. And he's like into her like from then on, but John's his best friend and his cousin, and so he just kind of pushes all that down. Well, him and Francesca, they're almost like a trio, like they're all like really good friends. And so then it's definitely a friends to lover type situation, like with them. Like once he passes, that she decides she's going to go back out into the marriage mart because she's still so young.
Yeah.
And then he realizes he's in love with her and has to.
I need to read them. I'm gonna
her over.
I think I'm gonna wait for the books until the seasons come out, though.
Yeah,
because like I'm gonna forget the book by the time the seasons come out.
I've read hers twice. I've read Benedict's twice. Those two are my favorite. So
Benedict so far has been my favorite. I cannot wait. I don't know why we don't have a Benedict season yet. It's really bothering me still.
I honestly don't know. Unless, I mean, I've heard people joke about it on TikTok, and maybe it is the truth that they all know that Benedict is everyone's favorite. So, like, they're just keeping us hanging on so that we keep watching the seasons, just waiting on him.
We'll watch him in the background. It's okay.
But we've got to, like, and I mean,
I just want to see his glow up. This is my, like, I want to know how they're going to make him glow up.
How could you
First of all,
possibly?
I
He
know.
looks so good this season.
He did.
He looks so good.
There was one like picture and like when they're he-hoving the big balloon.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, it's not in the book, and I thought that was so stupid. Anyways, he's
I mean,
Colin's like
yeah.
the front man, like he-ho, and you have
I
Benedict
will
in the
admit
back, like
though,
with a little rope at the end.
I'm not attracted to Luke Newton at all, but something about that outfit he was wearing on Balloon
I
Day,
know.
I was like, oh. And then he's like
I
pulling.
know.
I have a thing for forearms. That might be weird. That's like my favorite part on a man. I love it. And
Go
his
into
forearms look really
comments about Bridgerton thirst traps, and so many women are like, "This is what made hands hot." Bridgerton made all hands hot.
good. See, and that's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like people have laughed at me, but like I've always like hands, like it's usually they're veiny, and I know that's weird too, but like they've got to be really veiny and like veiny forearms. I'm like really into it.
That's because
I
you
don't
like
know.
Dylan's.
Dylan O'Brien, because he's got like the best. I know. I think this is where, yeah, agreed.
But no, it did make me think of you the other day. I don't know why I didn't send that to you because it literally made me have to send you every other TikTok, but I didn't send you that one.
And you might have. Sometimes I miss some of them, so it's possible that you
Who
do.
knows?
But I feel like we're jumping all over the
Oh,
place. So
yeah,
maybe
Francesca.
Francesca. Yeah. They're just really, I'm really excited for her. Like, it was weird. I did have the thought that poor Violet, because Violet every season, can she not just, here we thought Francesca was going to be like the easy one. But poor Violet, she just wants to have her children find love and live happily ever after. And everyone has to give her trouble in some fashion every single
The way
season.
she's just following Francesca around. She's like, I cannot do this again.
Yeah. And I mean, she's just given up on Eloise because she's like, I'm just gonna let her do her
Poor
thing.
Eloise. She did look gorgeous this season, like she usually does. But so
No, but I think Francesca is gonna be. I think it's gonna be good, and I almost feel like I don't know whose season's gonna be next. I almost feel like you're gonna. I don't really know because I feel like her story needs to, and maybe it'll be something as simple as we'll see her get married at the end of the season to John, and we'll just not. But I kind of don't want her to go away because we actually got to know her this season so far, and I really like her. So
I don't
like,
think her should be the next season.
I don't
It
think so
either
either.
needs to be Benedict or Eloise. In the book, it technically should be Eloise because
I think it's
Eloise is
got,
not married in Colin and
but she
Penelope's
hasn't
book.
even began her like start because she's got to like write letters and like kind of get involved, like because Marina hasn't even died yet. Like I think we've
Do
got to
we
do
know
Benedict
though?
because Benedict happened before all three of these.
Yeah.
Like
I
actually,
I
the thing
personally
is,
want Benedict's next.
well, because am I okay? You just read
Mhm.
Penelope, and there is not Sophie and Penelope are really good friends, correct? Like,
They
does
don't
that
really
happen in
they
Benedict's books? I can't remember, but I feel like there's a connection between the two of them.
I believe at the beginning of the book they mentioned that Benedict and his wife Sophie,
Yeah,
but we haven't had him in the show yet.
I know we
So
need like it has to be
in
Benedict next
book
season. Like,
world, Benedict's already married to Sophie.
yeah,
And also, I don't want to stay on this too long. I did not like them throwing in a Benedict love interest
I don't like her. I'm
widow.
sorry. And
It
you know what? At first, I
irritated me.
thought.
But she was
Here's what it.
beautiful. I love
Here's
the
what
actress.
I thought at first, and I was for it. I thought that they weren't going to actually get involved. I thought because she was giving me like Lady Tremaine vibes. So in my head, I'm thinking, what if this is Sophie's stepmother? Not that she looks old, like because I feel like she doesn't look old, obviously, but she looked old. I don't know if I feel bad if the actress is not. They made her, maybe it was because she's a widow. I feel like they gave us the impression that she was older than him. Maybe I'm the only one that got that. Like I got that impression. No, maybe not by a lot.
I've got the impression that she was like 10, 15 years older than him.
Okay, so that wasn't just me. I don't know if the actress actually is or not, but like they gave that vibe, I feel like, to where
They
she was
did.
like an older, like,
They definitely gave like a Mrs. Robinson
yes, that's
type
what I
of
thought.
vibe. Like the
So in
way
my
that
head,
she was almost even kind of leading him
yeah,
in the dance, in the way that she took charge, like in the bedroom, like
yeah.
there was different little Mrs. Robinson scenes, and I was like, why?
Yeah.
Why
And
are
so
we doing this?
so before they hooked up, I thought the only reason this will work is if this is Sophie's like evil stepmother. And this is how we're gonna and it's somehow
I
gonna
wouldn't
tie
like that
back.
either.
But now it's
Ugh.
not, now that they've hooked up, I don't like, that's gross in my opinion. So because she also has the look of what I thought Sophie would look like. Now I know that may change because Shonda changes stuff, but as far as the book description of Sophie, she resembled what Sophie could look like.
Mm-hmm.
So even when we first saw her before we spoke, I thought, oh God, is that Sophie? I got really excited.
Oh, and see, I got really nervous because I was like, that is not Sophie.
Well, I would have been mad if
in my mind, it wasn't Sophie.
They couldn't have met like that because they've got to meet at a masquerade ball. If you all change that, I'm like,
oh, if we do not get that masquerade ball, like, I will riot. It's like not giving us the carriage scene. Like, you just can't do it.
Yeah, I mean, sorry. Otherwise, it's not a Cinderella story. We've still got to have the whole like thing happen.
No, that season better be so freaking Cinderella. Like, give me the Cinderella Bridgerton love story that I have been desperately waiting on.
I just want to go read his book again. A lot of people have issues with his book, but I feel like we've changed so much of other books that we can change his whole like, do you want to be my mistress? We can drop that storyline because I agree that that's a stupid storyline.
I agree. I don't know if they will delete it, but I'm all down for them.
Though, because I feel like Benedict is not that guy in the show. Like, he's already made like I saw the TikTok of them making clips of like him talking about like how he appreciates like the lower class and how that doesn't make them unworthy, and he said that several times. So I'm hoping that will like deter them from doing that part of the storyline.
I hope so. I would be okay with them not doing the whole mistressy thing.
Yeah, because I mean that's kind of that part is icky. That's kind of like calling in his threesomes. Like I'm not that's not what we think our Bridgerton boys are into. I don't like it. Like I'm so ready. Let's talk about the Featheringtons because they brought it this season. Like I could actually
they made this season so good.
In past seasons, I've been like, okay, less Featheringtons, please, and more Bridgertons. This season, I mean, maybe it's because it's Penelope season. I am here for the Featheringtons. They cracked me up.
Oh my gosh. The one-liners that they just kept throwing at us.
Yeah.
I would like pause and rewind and be like, you just said what?
I like, had we met Prudence's husband yet? Or was that thrown in here like that okay, we hadn't, right? He was cracking me up. He's so in love with her, which is so cute. And she wants nothing to do with it. She said she does not enjoy it, although
she does like showing him off.
I feel like she was starting to enjoy it more because she was making out with him at the balloon place, like, right?
But even at the balloon place, she was like, nobody's can see us, right?
Right. So like I feel like that wasn't a show off part. So I don't know. I feel like maybe she was starting to enjoy it a little more after.
Well, and then we see them actually
now he's not allowed to touch her face because she shoves his hand away or whatever, but like they're getting business done. They're working on making that air like they need to, right?
Oh my
gosh. But what was the other part? When he said something, it was something that the mom, Portia, said to him. She was like, Mr. what's his name? Dan something. Oh, I wrote it down.
Starts with an A, I think.
Dankworth, Mr. Dankworth. Oh. She was like, you're so pretty. Basically, like, you're an idiot, but you do look nice.
Penn made the same kind of statement about her sisters, like a very quick offhanded comment, and it cracked me up when she goes, like, one's scary and one's simple. So I'm like, oh, yes. One's scary and one's stupid. And I was like, okay. I can see which one is which.
Yeah, I mean, Prudence is scary. Philippa's simple, you know?
Philippa. Oh my gosh, Philippa.
Oh, she's so sweet. She would, when Portia said, what exactly do you and Mr. Finch do?
We kiss. And then he makes a noise. And then he goes and changes his britches. No.
And poor girl really thought, because she had said we laid together before this event, so she really thought they were doing something.
Oh, inserts himself.
And poor Mr. Finch. I don't think he realized he wasn't doing it right either, because he knows he's supposed to be making an air. And like, he didn't even realize that, I don't know, that was the funniest like line ever. Inserts himself.
What's on our wedding wear? What's on our wedding night? It flattens my hair.
Prude. She's so
both
funny.
Of them just kept me cracking up.
I mean, they were definitely, and like I want to mention for just a moment, we talked about glow ups. Okay, so we have to
Oh
talk about it's Philippa. What is her real name? Is that one Bessie? No, that's the
no,
other one.
it's the other one.
Bessie Carter is Prudence. What's the other one's name?
Harriet.
Harriet Keynes. Yeah.
Yep.
She looks so beautiful this
Oh my
season.
gosh.
Like it
Okay.
took me back a couple times. I was like, oh my God, like I feel like she's not supposed to be that beautiful. Like
You know who
as
she reminds me of?
who?
Brittany Murphy.
Yes.
It's
Oh,
the
absolutely.
eyes, there's
She was really
something in her face that just reminds me of Brittany Murphy.
I agree.
It made me a little bit sad, but
I do love her. Yeah. No, but she like I mean, I remember thinking, is she so tan? I'm like, girl,
I don't get outside.
life has been good to you, like, I don't know. She just looked really, really
Honeymooning.
happy. Exactly.
Or
Which
do they
in
even
real
go on a
life,
honeymoon?
she's dating Luke Thompson. So
Mhm.
what a beautiful couple. Or I think that's a rumor. I don't know if it's actually confirmed, but there's a whole lot of pictures of them.
No, I
Like,
think it was confirmed.
okay, good. Because I was gonna say they're pretty intimate in their pictures. Like I kind of think it has to be. But
I do
I got
have
one
one
more funny
more.
line too. Go
Oh,
ahead.
I do too. So you go first.
Okay. It was when they're all sitting like in the Featherington house and they're talking about how, I don't know, I guess about the aunt that supposedly left them money, which we all
Oh,
know is, crap.
Petunia.
Yes. And
Petunia.
they're all peas. I guess I should know this. And then Portia says something about like, and now we get to, do this without having any men to tell us what to do. And I remember Mr. Finch and Mr. Dankworth are both sitting there and they just kind of look at each other like, what are we? And I just thought that was so funny because it was just we just totally ignored that they were even sitting there. Like they are not, she's not giving them any kind of credit. Like they are just there.
No,
They're
they
there to
made
just live in
those
Portia's world.
poor
Like,
men look so dumb. So simple.
which I mean, it seems like those men are just happy. Like how these two girls, because I mean, we love them, they're funny, but how did they find men to adore them the way that these two men adore
I
them?
don't
I mean,
know.
good for them. Like it's
Like the
great.
part where Penelope walks in and they're like throwing grapes in each other's mouths.
This
Lady Featherington, we're very busy. Can't you see?
is also funny. I love it. I love it.
Okay, so another one of my favorite Lady Featherington little moments is when he's like trying to show her the lamp. She's just like brushing him, the inventor from the balloon
Oh yeah,
theater part. Lamp. She's like, okay.
no, he was like, "Would you like to see how this?" Like, no,
No.
she's not even. Her and Varley cracked me because there was another part where Varley was like, "Can I speak frankly, ma'am?" And she was like, "You always do, Varley." Like, I mean, most of the moments that I laughed at were all Featherington moments.
Or when she's talking to Penn about you're not looking for a love match. This is the reason I discouraged you from reading.
For reading all those books. I know. There's some truth to that. As us being book readers, my husband's all the time like joking with me because I get on him like this is what happens when you're reading too many romance novels. He's like, you think this is what our life is gonna be? And I'm like, well, maybe. Just stop, okay? Why
Let me
not?
live in my
Yeah. Can you
fantasy
please
world over
just be
here.
my book boyfriend for a minute?
There's a few little moments that I loved during when Colin and Penelope are doing their lessons.
Yes.
We kind of skirted over earlier.
Yeah.
When whenever he like makes her walk up to those men and he's like, just do your fan and flutter your lashes. Oh gosh.
They were like, what did they say? He said, Miss Featherington, you seem like I can't remember what he said, but basically, because she was like going to town with that fan, like just,
and her eyes are. I was like, what are you doing?
I'm like, oh, why is she so bad at this?
And
Right?
next time you just give it up on me, huh?
One of my favorite things during the kiss scene, their very first kiss, and I feel like if I remember correctly, this is almost directly from the book, which
It
I
is.
thought was okay.
It's literally. Let me read you my notes.
Okay.
First kiss is perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly the way the book said it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, because I feel like that was one scene that was so well done in the book.
Yeah.
I'm so glad they did not change that, like, at all.
That they worked it in. Yeah.
They worked it in. They acted it out exactly how, like, I could almost imagine it being acted out.
Well, didn't he even the line about like you'd already be dead? Isn't that from the book too? Like where he makes us laugh? Like, yeah, like because I thought that was funny. Those are my favorite moments because that shows like their friendship.
Mm-hmm.
When they can joke, even though it's a very serious moment and she's freaking out. And he's like, but you'd already be dead. You know, like, I mean, making like light of the situation, like stop, okay? She just listen to her. She needs to be kissed, please.
Yep. I loved that scene. Even though I am a little bit disappointed in her maids. Like, she's being left alone with a man way too much.
Yeah.
Again, scandal.
Well, that one time he said he bribed her, right? So I guess she, you know, like
bribed her. I'm like, I don't know how they don't say anything. Oh, you know what? This is not a complaint, but this is a very different thing from the books. Colin's eating his appetite.
I know he's not eating all the biscuits and stuff all the time.
In the book, it kind of annoyed me how much they focused on like every single time he was around, he had to eat. Ended up, it was kind of funny.
Yeah.
But at the end of the book, I was like, okay, I know he's hungry. He needs to eat. Yeah. But they didn't even like mention it once.
I wonder though, now that you say that, like I kind of want to go back and watch old I'm picturing in my head though, I feel like every time Colin's in a room, he is eating something though. So I wonder if it's like one of those subtle, like.
Now you're gonna make me wonder. I'm gonna have to rewatch.
Like I wonder if it's a subtle thing that they've done without mentioning it. Because I can like picture several times him actually like eating in the show, and I can't picture other people eating that often. So I wonder if they've subtly thrown that in there without like actually saying it, because it is a huge part of the book, like to the point it annoyed me too, because I'm thinking, is he like 700 pounds? Like
I was like, what are we getting at here?
Yeah, I mean, like I remember like thinking like geez, like I wish I could eat this.
And every time I see like their little spreads, they have a ton of food, and I'm like, but in the book, it's like that wouldn't be enough. I'm like, how much does he eat?
Yeah,
because that's a lot of food. Like, how does this man eat all this food? But they didn't make any mention whatsoever.
I don't think they did. Did they?
None.
Okay.
Because now I'm curious, literally wrote it in my books at almost the end, because I was like, I was waiting for it. They never mentioned it in the show. I mean, maybe they're going to mention it the second half. I don't know, but that doesn't make sense.
Kind of silly now
that they would not mention it.
He's so dirty. I mean, like that would actually just make me upset. You know that.
I like when they
cute.
So
that
sturdy.
Was just, I remember, and that was in the preview, so we've all already talked about like that. But that was just a cute scene, and then. What did he say about proportions? Because even sweet little Gregory was like, I would like to have some proportions. I was like, I'm so glad that we're like including, because we need to get to know Gregory and Hyacinth. They are two of the best characters in the book series. Their books, like Gregory is unhinged.
Gregory has
he is wild.
500 children too.
Yeah, him and Lucy love each other a lot.
They have a lot. They got tired of finding names, and he just started naming every single child after his siblings.
Yeah.
I was like, there's no other names?
Okay, speaking of, and this is if people have not read the books that are listening to us, they're probably like, will you all please stop, because we don't understand what you're talking about. But let's talk about one other thing, talking about naming our children. So biggest complaint is that Lady Danbury is not involved in Colin and Penelope at all.
I know.
Their first child's name is Agatha.
After her, because she played such a huge part. Yes.
So it is really frustrating.
I felt like the attention was too on Francesca when that should have been a much smaller part in the show. But also in the show we have like the Kents, who are they're not in the books at all.
They can go somewhere. Like
I don't like the Kents. Like they didn't do anything wrong. I just think there's such an unnecessary.
Yeah. Well, they've not had like, okay, so like, what is this? I don't remember. Mr. Mondrick, whatever. He had a purpose in season 1. Yes. He was Simon's friend. Makes sense.
Yep.
There's no purpose for them beyond season 1. And I'm sorry, like the actor and actress are wonderful. I have nothing against them. Your story is unnecessary.
It really is. Like, I would rather see more of the Bridgertons or the Featheringtons.
Yes, you all are the people we want to see.
Than the Kents. I felt like we just spent. It's not like they spent like a ton of time on them, but the time that we did, I like my second watch through. I hate to admit, I fast forwarded through their scenes because I was like, I didn't just move on.
I just don't care.
I didn't give a rat's anything about them.
No, I mean, and it's unnecessary. Like, I don't know where that fits into the story at all.
Well,
Like,
first we had them, and now we're like making them higher class. So now they're going to be like are they going to be in
around
every
all the
single
time.
season? Like, is this?
Yeah,
To me, we're just focusing too much on them for them to not even be a part of the original story.
exactly.
And
No,
I
I
don't
mean,
know what the purpose of them is.
there isn't. And just like, I mean, like, there's other people that, like, I'm okay with. Like, I really don't like that we spend so much time on Cressida, but I feel like there's a purpose.
Cressida, I don't even mind spending time on her as much as I do.
At least she has a character in the books. I mean, like, she's not as prominent, like, but
Yeah.
you know. And I mean, don't this season I actually started to feel a little sympathy towards Cressida, so like I don't hate her like I used to. That's okay.
Her dresses, I couldn't get past overlooking at her
It
dresses.
reminds me of like Effie from like Hunger Games, honestly, is what it
Yes.
makes me think of. Yeah.
That TikTok I sent you yesterday cracked me up. So I was like, that is so freaking true
Yeah.
on these dresses. Like,
There,
what? Every single one of her dresses looked over the top ridiculous. And like you said, Hunger Games.
maybe this is why you haven't found a match yet. They're too intimidated by your
The
dresses.
one with her, like the corset around her neck.
It was so, yeah.
I was like, that, it just, what are you, or the sponges
She's
that are
a
just sticking out
beautiful
of her hair.
woman too. Like,
I
and I feel like,
know.
but in the show, I feel like they make her look so unattractive.
Does she need a glow up for any reason? Is that why we're putting her in these awful things?
I mean, I don't know. I'm low-key hoping, like, now that like Lord Debling isn't in the picture, like, I'm okay with him and Cressida. Like,
I know. I
he
think
seemed like
I
a
was
really
hoping
nice
that's where we're
guy.
gonna go. Does
I
she
actually really
ever
liked him.
do we
I
ever
was like,
find out
"Oh."
in any of the books
Yeah, well,
who she
actually,
marries?
because hers is, I don't remember who she marries, but it's somebody who like dies pretty quickly.
Mm.
And he evidently didn't have the money that he pretended to have, so she's like left just poor and like she's a really terrible ending. So like I wouldn't mind if they gave her like a better ending. Like that's not, I don't wish her that, I guess. But that's a big part of why she says she's Lady Whistledown, because that's the big thing in the book.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That when the queen offers like the reward, she comes out and says like, and maybe they will still do this. I don't know.
They still
Spoiler, I'm
could because that
sorry.
was towards the end.
Yeah. But that's her reasoning behind that is because
Mm-hmm.
she has no money because her husband has died and left her with nothing.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I mean, I don't know. But her friendship with there was one part with like talking about Eloise just a second, just because I feel like that applies to Cressida. When Eloise and Cressida are all standing around talking to all those women, and she's like, "What exactly do you like about embroidery?" And like those ladies were like, what did she say? There's so much to do. And Eloise's face when she's like, such as like I don't understand. And they start listing all these different like stitches and stuff, and she's like, what? But her little comment with the such as like in this group was just cracking me up. Like, Eloise, what are you doing? You definitely do not belong with these women. Like,
I like when she's like, sorry, is she's in that circle after she tells Cressida about Colin helping out Penelope. I'm like, she is a full-on stand-up comedian
she's
in
so
this little
funny.
like
Yeah.
the way that she's like delivering her jokes.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
I was like, she is a stand-up comedian. Like if
And
she was in today's world,
have you seen interviews with Claudia Jessie? Because I feel like that is a
a
lot of her
million.
coming out
It
because she is
is.
very much that personality. She is so funny, like
The
in
whole
real
way of
life.
her how she broke her wrist
I saw it. Maybe you
this
said that. I
season.
can't remember.
Oh,
Yeah.
I did. I sent it to everybody I know because that was the
With
most
her high kick.
hilarious
Yeah.
with her high kick and the gown doesn't give much give. So she went flying back.
But just to hear her tell the story, like if someone's listening and you're like, what are they laughing about? Just look up like about Claudia Jessie. She was on what Stephen Colbert, I think was the show it was on that she was telling the story. I think
I
so.
think so.
It's just
You
hilarious.
can
Her
just look up
delivery
her
is just
story of how she broke her wrist on set
so funny.
and why she had to wear her summer muff. Or I liked
Yeah.
after finding out that she had a broken wrist, I liked rewatching
I'll
and
have to check that
seeing
out.
all the different ways they covered up her cast
Yeah.
throughout it. Like her dress would be laid out, or she had the summer muff
Speaking
on, or
speaking of that, I wonder if Gregory, if the actor that plays him, if he really injured himself because all of a sudden he showed up in that sling and
he
they
did.
joked about him jumping off. Okay, I hadn't seen that. Like that's
No,
a
I
fun
don't know if he did in real life,
I wonder if he did
but
because I feel like otherwise there wasn't really a whole lot of purpose to adding that storyline in.
I'll look it up real fast.
Other than just, I mean, like I said, Gregory's character, like I hope with everything in me, we wait to get through all of these seasons because Gregory is just funny.
From what they said weirdly, no, it just
Okay.
it didn't happen to Will. We just liked the idea that he's a cheeky kid who's adventurous,
Okay.
and him climbing a roof and falling. They just liked
I think
that.
it checks out. Yeah. Okay.
It just kind of gave him a fun little
Well,
something,
that
I guess.
proves to me though that we are at least trying to go towards like getting all of their seasons because I feel like that really fits. You haven't read any further on. Like once you read Gregory's book, I feel like it really fits with like his personality of just being like wild as can be.
Is he
Like,
really young when he gets married?
he's in like his 20s. He's like the age of I feel like everybody else or whatever, but
Well,
I mean
Colin is 30 and 3. So
okay, so Colin waited longer than
I always like how they did ages in
I
the
feel like,
book.
yeah.
Another one of my notes is Eloise's line where she goes, "I do enjoy a good turn."
Everything she says is so funny. Like, I feel like she's constantly making fun of these people. And like, do they even realize that she's making fun of you? Like,
No.
I really cannot wait to see her fall in love just because I think it's gonna be
Do
so
you think we get to see it
interesting.
because in the book? Like this, do you get to see? Have you read Eloise's book? No, you
I
haven't
haven't.
read it.
Hers is the only one. I need to
Because
it's
she's like already she's writing the letters all throughout Colin and Penelope's book, and then she gets married at the end of their book.
Well, I think we go back and see it because, like I said, those 3 books are taking place at the same time. Because even in Francesca's book, she gets a letter from Colin saying that he's going to marry Penelope Featherington, and she's just absolutely shocked by this. So like they're all 3 happening simultaneously.
Okay, so that makes sense.
So I think we'll
because
get
at the end of the book, and they're like, Eloise got married. I was like, where did that come from? What?
Yeah, so I think that when we go into her book, it'll jump back, I guess, a little bit to where it's all happening at the same time.
That makes sense.
Which, granted, I do remember last season, like I feel like Eloise was a little secretive. Like I need to rewatch. And it made me wonder if we were not already starting the letters, but I didn't notice anything this season so far.
Also, I really liked Lord Remington and Penelope's little conversation. He's the one in the wheelchair.
Oh yeah.
And then like we never saw him again.
I know.
I did want to mention that because I was like, I kind of liked their little banter they had kind of going back and forth. And then we just like totally wrote him off.
Yeah, why couldn't we have had both him and Lord Debling like let a bunch of men pursue Penelope and let Colin watch? That's what I wanted to see.
I didn't, and I know I'm going to contradict myself here because in the book she's very not confident in herself, and so in the show they made it to where she was not very confident in her show in herself. But I'm like, if all the changes you're going to make, why couldn't we make Penelope just a little bit more confident in when she was talking to these guys and not like a fluttering mess?
Yeah, which she was by the end of like when she got to talking to Lord Debling. Like, why couldn't we just like? I just wanted to see that happen longer. I think
I did too. I wanted to see more strong, confident, which we might get that in the second half. We might get it, but I would have liked to see her be like that with other guys as well, not just Colin.
Because I think we're gonna see what I don't want to happen, but what I'm afraid is gonna happen is that when he finds out that she's Lady Whistledown, he's going to act silly and she's going to cower to him about how terrible she is for keeping this from him. And I don't want to see her do that. I don't feel like she has to.
Because in the book, she doesn't.
Yeah.
And I hope.
I just don't want to, I don't know. Because I'm already upset at how it was just glossed over, like that Eloise was just so mad at her. And it felt like Penelope was wrong. And I don't really feel like Penelope had any. Like, I don't know. I didn't like the way
she did kind of talk trash about Eloise, which was not.
But it was clear that it was like it was to help. Like, Eloise knew that it was to get the heat off of her. Up until that point, she had like basically never said anything about the Bridgertons. The only thing that like even with the Marina thing, it was protect Colin because Marina was getting ready to trap him into a marriage. Like she's always, I don't know. I feel like we've glossed over that, and like I want that to be brought up. Like when he finds out, like I want her to explain exactly why she did that. That was for him.
Mm-hmm. I do.
Anna is my girl, so like I get mad when like people are being mean to her. I don't like it.
No, I get it. I really did not like Eloise and Penelope fighting.
No.
Like,
and I didn't like
all four of these episodes. I'm like, can we like one episode and then like make up?
be
Because
done.
I love their friendship. And I did not like seeing Eloise just being so good friends with Cressida the entire time. And
And
like,
not only like being friends with her, but like Cressida's still being mean to Penn. And like you can tell Eloise doesn't like it, but she's not standing up for her.
she doesn't stand up for it. And then when she goes and tells Cressida about Colin helping Penelope,
like, why?
that really peeved me off.
Like I know that Cressida didn't end up saying anything, and that's great and all, but Eloise, you said this right in front of like everyone. Like,
But okay,
you try to hide it at
did you
all.
go back and rewatch that though?
I did actually, and I didn't notice that
There
girl.
was nobody listening. There was nobody listening, and then they turn around because those girls behind him are already talking.
Yeah.
And they turn around and start talking to them. It's like they didn't hear anything.
Well, that's true.
I feel like Cressida straight up lied, and she did go and tell everybody.
Have. Yeah.
Because I made sure to watch all the surroundings, and even after, because I was like, maybe there's like somebody like in the back or something that's like listening, and we kind of see in the back. There's nothing, nobody. Because I was like, when she said that later on, I was like, I didn't see anybody listen. So when I rewatched it the second time, I made sure to watch, and there was nobody around them. Well, there was somebody around them, but
they were there. But maybe they
didn't. They were like mid conversation. They didn't seem like they were listening to what Eloise and Cressida were saying at all. So I like the book better when Penelope and Eloise are friends during all of this.
And like I said, the only way this works out for me is if Eloise is a crucial part in convincing Colin to forgive her once he finds out.
I'm hoping
if that's the way it works out, then I can forgive everything, because I think that'll be,
No, I agree.
So the only thing that I can think of that we have not really discussed is Violet and what looks like it's going to be a potential romance with Lady Danbury's brother, who is a very nice looking man. So like,
he's a very nice looking man.
I'm worried though.
I
don't think they would do anything like,
she never remarries in any of the books, correct? Like she never, there's not any love interest for Violet later on. No. Okay. I didn't think so, but
we mentioned that her garden needed some tending last season. So if we found her a gardener, I'm okay with this. And he's a mighty fine gardener.
I'm fine with it. I just don't want her to get, she's at least being an adult, and she's being very upfront and honest and about her feelings and her past, and she had a love match, and I like that she's being very open with him and not keeping anything from him. And
the only thing that worries me is that Lady Danbury seems to not want him there. So like, why?
What's I need more backstory.
But siblings can sometimes be weird. So like there might be something that might be just fine, like I don't know.
Yep.
But yeah, I would like
or maybe he was a ladies' man and she's like, I don't want that for my friend.
Yeah, maybe.
But any man can change. We read romance novels, we know that.
Exactly. We prefer them like that, right?
I still, by the way, love, I cannot think of his name right now, Queen Charlotte's right-hand man.
Why can't I think of his name right now?
All I can think of right now is Varley, and that's it's stuck in my head right now.
Yeah, that's
anyways, I just want to say I still love their relationship.
Yeah.
That's even when she's like behind him, he's just constantly like,
no, you know who we didn't see? We didn't see the king at all this season so far.
I know. I wonder if he's deteriorating more.
This after we've watched Queen Charlotte, though, like I feel like we all have like a greater love for him now, and I didn't get to see him. Maybe it'd be too sad, I guess. I don't know.
That's Queen Charlotte was more, I don't know, that was more like heartfelt, like my heartstrings were being pulled during that entire thing. And I think that's really because we already knew where he was getting to, so seeing all their love and gosh,
I'm gonna go rewatch Charlotte.
I'm about to say I need to rewatch Queen Charlotte.
I really hope by the end of the season, maybe should we talk about what we want to see in these next 4 episodes? I mean, honestly, of course we didn't. I guess we're not allowed to talk too much about the carriage scene because I definitely would like to see more of that. That was another scene that
we
was
can
perfect.
talk. We need to talk carriage scene.
We do. We're gonna have to.
We don't have to go into detail about carriage scene, but that's one of the most popular scenes.
And that scene, even though like the reason he got in the carriage was different, like all of that leading up to it was different, but the carriage scene, if I remember correctly, played out pretty perfectly. Like
it did, and I like that.
Like it lived up to my expectations.
It did, and I like that while they were filming it, the director kept yelling at them to cut, and they were so involved they could not cut.
I understand like they were in it, and like she said, I think it was like for like she said I was not paying attention. She's like, hope no one saw this. I was not paying attention to anything.
Yeah,
like,
and I think that was
they
very
got really
true
into character
because she said that was them like improving whenever they like jerked to the stop because that's how they could get them to stop. Like I'm like that. Like
that's so great.
Come on,
I love that.
Don't do that to us.
Well, and I'm
promoting this so well.
If I were, and I don't know, like I said, I only know what I hear, and I don't know if it's true, but I also heard that when she runs her hands through his hair was also an improv. That was Nicola doing that because she said she felt like that's something Penelope would do. Well, and I think you can tell
she's read the book then.
Because she does some.
She mentions his hair in that scene. Well, and that was such a good catch.
It almost looks like Luke is thrown off by it because that look on his face looks it looks real. And even they might just be fabulous actors, and it may be me being just completely delusional and wanting to believe that like there was something really happening here. But like his look on his face was just like, huh. I remember like I think that was the first one because I was like, okay, cool, we're kissing, this is good. And then when she does that, I was like, oh,
and
I love this.
As everybody's favorite, I will not get into details about this, but everybody's favorite is how he fixes her dress.
He's very careful.
After. Are they even home yet though? They were all still at the ball. That's another confusing part.
Oh, that's true.
They're all still at the ball. I'm like, who is he going to go to?
She was worried that like somebody was going to see. I mean, Gregory and Hyacinth are home, right?
Yes. Yeah.
I don't know. Anyways, sorry, Maureen.
Benedict was there. Maybe Anthony.
No, they're out. See, that's another. I really wish Anthony. We didn't talk about them either. We need to come back to them just for a second. I hope that they are back in later episodes because we've only seen them in one. And I understand. I think Jonathan might have been filming Wicked at this time. I really don't know. Maybe that may have been why.
Well, and I mean, we're not going to get any more Simon and Daphne apparently.
Which I'm okay with that.
I
like. There's a purpose though for Anthony and Kate because they are the Viscount and Viscountess of the family.
Well, but also Daphne had a big hand to play in Penelope and Colin. So I was a little I know like Simon's not coming back. He's already done. Like Reggae's already said he's not coming back. He's not doing it anymore. I'm surprised Penelope's not gonna because even in the book, Simon's not even in the book when it comes.
No, Simon's done. I think there's
but Daphne is.
Yeah, Daphne comes back.
Why is Phoebe not coming?
Yes, she's done. I don't know. You know what? And that is a good reason for us to hold off on Benedict's season because unfortunately, once Benedict and Sophie get married, they are kind of absent from the rest of the story too. So, which means he'll go.
They can stay around. It's okay.
So maybe that's good because they get a little place out in the country and stuff. I'm pretty sure.
I do want to mention that the casting between Violet and Francesca was
so good,
so freaking amazing. Like, really, you see the picture I sent yesterday? Like them, like when they look standing next to each other, like that's mother and daughter.
Yeah,
they did so well with the casting.
But like on that same topic, because like I mentioned, and I don't think I noticed it until this season. There's one picture of Colin, and he's got on that brown jacket. It reminded me so much of in Queen Charlotte of like Grandpa, like of Violet's dad.
It did.
Like I didn't realize that there was like some like similarities there until I saw that this season. I was like, oh my gosh, like he reminds me of him.
And the playlist this season was better than 1 and 2. 1 and 2 were still good. I really loved the playlist this season.
No, they're it's
really... doing Pitbull during the carriage scene.
I was going to say the carriage scene song was just like I loved it so much. I was like, I want this.
Well, the one right before that, when he's breaking up the dance, that was the Taylor Swift and Lana Del Rey's "Snow on the Beach."
"Snow on the Beach," yeah,
song, which I loved that was in there. We got Who else we the ABCDEFU
Yeah.
we had in there. Billie Eilish we had in there.
So good. I mean, it's been great.
Nick Jonas, Jealous.
Yes.
There's so many good songs.
No, I agree.
I had to mention the songs because
I agree.
and they only like let us know the songs of part 1. I thought these were going to be for the whole season.
I thought so too. Yeah.
And then when they were like, I was kind of like naming it off in my head as we were watching the season. We got to the last carriage scene, it was Pitbull, and I was like, that was supposed to be the last song. So that means we're gonna get even more.
Any more good. I know. I can't wait. Oh my gosh. So these last 4 episodes.
I want to see Colin finding out that she's Lady Whistledown. I think that's such an
I think
important
we have to. Yeah.
part. And if they don't do that, it's one of those things where I don't want to happen because that's going to cause their fight, but
yeah,
it needs
to
to happen
before they get married though, because I can't have any more issues. Like they have to live happily.
Well, I'm sorry.
After.
Once they're married, back in that day, you're freaking married. So I don't know
exactly.
what
but I don't
you're
want
gonna
him
do.
to I don't want there to be any trouble. You know what I mean? Like so.
In the book, like he gets mad at the beginning, but he also like becomes like her number one freaking fan.
Protects her, yeah,
and protects her. So I really want to see that play out the same way. They already changed it to where they're already going to be engaged without him knowing, unless she stops him right there in the carriage and says, "I need to tell you this before."
Yeah,
which I don't think she's going to do.
I don't think she will.
That doesn't seem like the vibe we were going for. So
I think we'll do the same thing. I think, especially since Cressida is playing such a big part, I think we will do the same thing. There will be like a reward for Lady Whistledown, and Cressida will, for whatever reason, say that it's her, and like she's gonna have to come out and be like, no, like it's me. And that's how, like, I kind of want that whole reveal to play out almost exactly like it does in the books, just because it's such a huge part. I need it to be the same.
I like where like he makes her like stand up in the balcony and it's Anthony and Colin and Simon are the ones who are like announcing that she is Lady Whistledown, and they're 100% behind her, and everybody starts like, I still want that ending to her story.
Yeah,
because that's, I don't know, it was, to me, it was a perfect ending to the book.
Yeah,
so I hope they still I hope they stay in that ending. They might not, but
maybe not. I don't know, but I definitely want, I don't know, I don't want him to freak out too much. I want it to be quick.
I know.
like
don't be mean.
Yeah, don't be too mean, okay?
Don't be too mean to Penelope.
I still am holding out hope that the very last episode we will meet Sophie Beckett at like a ball of some sort, and it will just, because I've heard
maybe that's the masquerade balls where they announced she's Lady Whistledown.
Maybe. I've heard that we will know at the end of the season who the next season is about, that there will be a clear like,
yay.
So we'll see. Don't get me wrong, I'd still love to meet Michael just because I love him, but I'm okay if we hold off like meeting him until their season.
I think with how the John thing's going right now, I don't think we'll see Michael this season.
Yeah.
I think they'll let all, I think we'll see Francesca and John get married this season.
I'm going to put it out there in the world, just like I did for you all earlier, that I have found so Shonda, you can go find.
Yeah, and I agree with this.
Labuscount, is that how you say his name? Either way, Alfie. From Emily in Paris. Okay, Emily doesn't want him. He's not needed there anymore. Go snatch him up, because I think he would be the perfect Michael Sterling.
Yes, I 1,000% agree with you. Plus,
I am a little disappointed that John and Michael are not Scottish, because I was really looking forward to a Scottish accent. But that's okay.
I mean, they can change their accents. Nicola's not British.
That's true. But she's Irish, right? Or she's Scottish. Which would she's Irish. Yeah. Yeah.
Barely, you've never seen Dairy Girls.
I haven't actually. I've heard about it, but I haven't watched it.
I haven't finished it.
So
I liked what I've seen, but I just haven't finished it.
But I would like some Sophie for sure. I don't know which. I don't have a casting choice for her, because all I pictured was Lily James, and that's just because of the Cinderella thing. Like, it doesn't have to be her though. Like, I'm sure we're gonna get someone else.
It's one thing that I never really complain about in this show is their casting.
No, I don't. And that's it's so funny, because like every other book, I mean, to movie adaptation, I know we've all complained about what's coming with It Ends With Us, but like I usually get really upset. Like if these people don't fit the picture that I had in my mind when I read it, like I get really upset about it. Bridgerton, I don't. Like
No.
because
They're
I
all so
feel
good looking.
well, and I know that they're going to choose the right person to just personify that character.
Yes.
Like, I
Yeah.
mean, Kate obviously was nothing like she is in the book,
No.
but like she is absolutely Kate. Like,
Mm-hmm.
no doubt in my mind. So I don't ever get upset.
No, they.
And John Sterling, like I said, I mean, he's supposed to be some Scottish guy, but like I saw him and he introduced himself, and I was like, I love this.
Yeah.
I just instantly love this.
I
So
immediately was like, I like
I'm
the other
into it.
Lord guy. He's okay, but no, it's John.
No,
Like,
it's you. There's a
it's John.
connection, and like the chemistry is what is always so killer because you can just feel it.
When they're just standing in the dark, just side by side, not saying a word, but
Like
saying
how
so much.
sweet is
Like,
that
oh,
love story to just be able to sit in silence, like with each other, and just feel so comfortable instantly. That's just beautiful.
Loved it. All right. Well, I think that's all.
I
We
think that's
covered a
it.
lot.
So
There's a
now
lot.
we just gotta wait
All that from 4 episodes. Woohoo.
4 episodes. I know. And see, that's what these first 4 episodes were so good that I am so confident that I am gonna like absolutely adore the last 4.
Oh,
Like
I
I
have
have no
no
doubt in my
doubt.
mind.
I'm so excited.
I
I'm
think
also glad it's only like less than a month away. It's not like
right.
we
Is
have to
it
wait too
June
long.
13th?
13th. Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah. So
Yep.
not too long, I
Yay.
guess.
And then we'll be back for our part 2.
Yes, we will discuss all the rest of it after that. All right, but definitely check us out on all of our socials. It's Fandom Family Chats on everything now, even our Facebook groups. We've closed down all the old ones we've had. We've got one group that just is there for all of our obsessions. We just put it all in one, Fandom Family Chats. Check us out there. I think coming up episodes, we've got a lot of our finales coming up for our regular shows. So we'll be bringing those to you as they end. The Chicago's, Grey's Anatomy, Station 19, which is sadly going to be a series finale. 911, what else we got? Fire Country, Will Trent, all of those. I think we've got the Bear on FX.
Okay.
We got that.
Listen, the bear episode has become cursed.
We're going to get there eventually. I swear to you, we are. There's always a conflict in scheduling when we get ready to schedule that, but it's going to happen before it's over with. We are going to discuss the first 2 seasons, and we will discuss the 3rd season after it happens.
It is one of our
And
favorite shows. We just haven't
we
gotten
don't
there to talk
know.
about it yet.
We don't know. We're going to get there though. We promise. And lots of other fun stuff coming up this summer. Summer schedule is always kind of different, so we don't quite know exactly what that is. I know we're going to finish up our ACOTAR series. We've got one more episode to do, Frost and Starlight and Silver Flames, as soon as Maureen gets those read. And then I don't know what else is coming up, but it will be good. It always is, right?
Yes.
So just make sure to come back and check that out. And until
I
then,
think that's all.
that's it. Bye, everyone.
Bye, guys.
Loving our content? Subscribe to our YouTube channel, and don't forget to share our podcast with your family and friends. We want to continue the conversation with you. You can find us on Instagram, Twitter, or TikTok under Fandom Family Chats, or one of our ever-growing Facebook groups by searching Family Fan Club. We've also launched a website, Family Fan Club 2021 at Wixsite.com. You can email us there and keep checking it for announcements and merch coming soon. And of course, be sure to tune in every week for new episodes discussing all your favorite shows.